Thank you for your query of September 12th. I have just returned from a short but long overdue vacation in the southern climes, and am afraid I am somewhat behind in my correspondence. Yes, we received your manuscript. A detailed log of all submissions is kept, and it clearly shows your manuscript, hip shot by Alfred Points, 437 pages in length, arrived on April 14th of the previous year. Indeed, I recall the manuscript in question, for, if I am not mistaken, it was printed entirely on pink paper, though this is not as unusual as one might imagine. It was the only one, pink, that is, that I had received in the last year, canary yellow and powder blue leading the way amongst those who favor color. Over the past months I watched it advance from shelf to shelf, slowly making its way across the bookcase reserved for submissions, until it achieved the final shelf. From there I moved it to my desktop 2 weeks ago. You should have had your reply already were it not for an urgent editorial matter that required my immediate attention. Unfortunately, this matter arose just before my vacation, and occupied all my time until the moment of my departure, and so I am somewhat embarrassed to say I did not manage to read as much as a single page of your manuscript. I did, however, resolve to tackle it straight away upon my return. Life, alas, is uncertain at best. No doubt you've read about the troubles we've had out here, about the series of seismological upheavals we've suffered. When I returned from vacation on Monday morning, it was to find their building, which housed our publishing offices, had suffered extensive structural damage as a result of the latest series of earthquakes to strike our already reeling city. The building in question, or parts of it, to be more exact, had tumbled into one of the many fissures that have opened up in the earth and now dot the landscape like open wounds.
Remarkably, half the building still towered above the lip of the abyss. As if untouched, the other half had vanished completely. Perhaps you can imagine my shock, my incredulity, as I stood on the street outside this once impressive edifice, only moments earlier looking forward to closeting myself with your manuscript. Naturally, I was appalled. Hastening to my office, no mean feat, with the elevators still out of service and the stairwell littered with debris and twisted coccia hoop, I chanced upon Trevor Marchman, a colleague in the literature division, who advised me against proceeding. His face was staked with dirt and his tie askew. Placing a trembling hand on my shoulder, he explained we had lost the entire children's literature section. Most of our genre fiction, romance being the sole exception, and our latest self-help guides. On the plus side, we had retained our highly successful cookbook and true crime lines. The nature and acts of God divisions, he continued breathlessly, had fortunately suffered only minor damage and were rushing to get first-hand accounts of the disaster published as soon as possible. Though he had not been to the literature office yet, he feared the worst as it straddled the line along which the building had been bisected. I shrugged off his hand and pushed forward, seized by a renewed sense of urgency. If the worst had happened, then I knew I must see it for myself. When I emerged on the 17th floor, there was little evidence of the catastrophe itself. The reception area looked in much as it had for the last 2 decades, the patterned carpet worn and dusty, the solid oak desk still manned by the ageless Philip the chrome and vinyl chairs of the reception area occupied by the usual Galamau fry of writers, albeit more nervous and bedraggled in usual, clutching their usual assortment of boxed manuscripts and large manila envelopes. "Good morning, Mr. Gardner," Philip said with his customary aplomb, and several heads bobbed up, eyes looking hopefully in my direction. I nodded curtly at him, still too breathless from my exacting